foreigners living here in Britain who break our laws. And therefore, once they break the laws, once they become criminals, surely we should just deport them. But no, this is crazy Britain, and we allow them to stay. So foreign criminals who should logically have been deported from this mad country of ours, but were allowed to stay, went on to re-offend 10,000 times in a single year. This is ridiculous. Why do we let these people stay? Let's talk to former Met detective Mike Neville. Hello, Mike.
Yes, hello, Kevin. Hope you're well.
How are you?
Yes. Very well,
Mike, let's put everybody that Mike and I were last putting the world to rights around about like 1 in the morning on the street, the empty streets of Covent Garden, and I'll admit it, we'd had a couple of drinks. But yeah, good to see you back up to speed now, Mike, and good to have you on board. Isn't this mad, though, this situation now? Foreign criminals, people who came to our country, were allowed to stay, then broke our laws, at which point, no ifs, no buts, deport them, but we didn't. They carried on living here. They went on to reoffend 10,000 times in a single year. When will this insanity end?
Well, I fear it will never end, really, unless there's a real change of direction in the government. You'll see nothing from Labour or the Conservatives or the Liberal Democrats around changing this. And we've got enough criminals of our own, of course, without importing them in. And some of the crimes you refer to are very, very serious. There's been several murders committed by immigrants who are allowed to stay here. And we've had these ridiculous situations where we've tried to deport people. You remember that there was a plane load of offenders who included sex offenders and rapists and robbers and drug dealers who were going to be returned to Jamaica. And you had all these sort of liberal lefties who prevented that happening. And these people should be held to account because they're often sort of champagne socialists, of course, and the criminals who commit these wicked crimes, they will then be returned back to some council estate where the poor people just have to put up with it, while the champagne socialists can all celebrate and say what a wonderful thing they've done. And all they've done is brought misery to this country. And to be quite honest, the only thing that surprises me, it's only 12% of foreign criminals. And any statistics you quote, of course, Kevin, is that they're the only crimes that have been reported. If you're poor and you're burgled or whatever, and you haven't got insurance, you simply don't report it because there's no point, because all the police don't catch burglars or recover your property anymore. All that people want is a crime number, and if you've not got insurance, you don't need that at all. So it's really terrible that this goes on, but I do not see a left-wing government having any appetite for deporting people.
But I mean, it just seems so ridiculous. Look, I suppose, you know, in a reasonable world, if you commit some very, very minor misdemeanor, you're a foreigner living here, I suppose now and again, if you've got a family and kids and all that, we can make an exception. But generally speaking, I would suggest if we let you live here in this country, reside in this country, and you repay our courtesy by breaking our laws so badly you go to jail, I mean, it's a no ifs or buts situation, isn't it? You are deported, and yet we rarely do this. People come here, break our laws, often, as you say, Mike, egregiously, serious offences. They go to jail for fairly long time. They come out and resume their lives in Britain. What are they thinking, the authorities?
Well, you've got to see, you've got to detach yourself from reality. You've got to imagine that you're a human rights lawyer, you're a Keir Starmer. You see things in an entirely different picture. These people are victims of the world and the wickedness of the world. And you don't see life in like what's happening in the council estate in Bermondsey or Bolton, that you're just binning these people off. And everything is a sort of test of law and should this be... And there's always some human rights lawyer ready to go and ready to take... They always take money, of course, from the government to stop these people being deported. But it's absolute lunacy to keep people here who will deal drugs, stab people, rape people, and it's just not good enough.
Yeah, it's not. And it's the welfare of these criminals, of these prisoners, is being prioritised over the welfare of the people of this country. And you know, that's profoundly wrong, isn't it?
It is profoundly wrong, but we're ruled by an establishment that see these people as some kind of victims, and to send them back to Jamaica or Albania or wherever they come from is seen as a really wicked act. But it's really about protecting our borders, protecting the public, but they just don't see it like this. And we need firm action so that criminals know, look, if you commit crimes, you will be punished. And we have all these things like right to family life. So, oh no, I know he's done a rape and a robbery and a burglary, but he must stay here because he's got family. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll pay all the family and they can go and live in whatever country that they came from. Then they can all be together, because we don't need any more bad people in this country. We've got enough of our own.
What foreign criminals, and we seem to have, it's a real boom industry, foreign criminals. What kind of particular problems do they present to the police?
Well, straight away you've got the issue of languages and interpretation. You know, the vast amount of money that's spent on that, and these people know how to take advantage. Albanians, for example, are about 12% of all foreign criminals. Not only are they're ruthless as well, and they will laugh. The police in Albania, that if you go into a police station in Britain, you know, would you like a lawyer? Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a meal? Would you like a bed to lie on? You can bet your bottom dollar in Albania, the police do not operate like that. The same in the Pakistan or parts of Africa. It simply doesn't work like that. So they can almost laugh at the system. And they know in their own country, if they did these wicked acts, they'd either be sentenced to death or sentenced to very long prison sentences. Here, they can, you know, they'll get warnings and cautions and whatever else. So these people are just laughing at us, and they know. What's the difficulties? One's the language. Secondly, is their ruthlessness, I think, and they will be utterly brutal to anybody. And it's just crime is out of control, and this makes it worse.
And so people like you know, serving coppers, people who work in the justice system, they know the reality of what's going on here. But you alluded to this earlier, Mike. Back in December 2020, so 4 years ago, there was a guy called Ernesto Elliott, a Jamaican criminal jailed for knife crime. He was released and went on to murder a 35-year-old man after being released from prison. He was on this deportation flight in 2020, along with 22 other serious criminals on its way back to Kingston, Jamaica. Those 23 criminals, including Ernesto Elliott, have been sentenced to a combined 156 years in jail. And their appeals succeeded in having them taken off the plane. They then remained in this country, and this came just after 60 celebrities, authors and other public figures signed an open letter opposing this deportation flight. Now, these people who signed this letter, they live in cosseted middle-class North London homes in lovely areas. They don't know the reality of what this is all about, do they?
At all. They don't know the reality at all. And as I've said to you, they see these people as the victims. They never consider the woman who's been raped, the family whose home who's been burgled, the shopkeeper who's had all his stock taken and can't work, the person who's been attacked in the street and can't get to work again because they're very badly injured. They never consider these people. They just consider these criminals as victims of some kind of society. And it almost they need to be confronted with this. You know, all the time these people will campaign to have them released. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to campaign to have these people released, you'll put your name and address on a register and they'll come and live next door to you. But then they wouldn't like that, you see, because their conscience is salved the moment they're released and they go and live, as I say, in that council estate in Stoke, in Bolton, in South London somewhere, where they're binned off on other people who have no say on the misery that these individuals bring. And we should be shipping people out, getting rid of people. There are too many people in this country already, and we don't need evil, bad people who deal drugs, stab people, murder, rob and rape.
And would you support this proposal, Mike? I sense you would, but I think it's a good idea. Incredibly, of our 80,000 or so prisoners we have in this country, that's the total number, about 80,000. 10,000 of them are foreigners, foreign nationals. I suggest that every single one of those foreign nationals who've broken our laws and are in our jails, the moment their sentence ends, they are deported back to their home countries. That would be an idea, wouldn't it? And then, at a stroke, perhaps our jails wouldn't be so overcrowded.
Well, absolutely. Or get rid of them straight away. Like, why are we even filling our prisons with them? Just get them back and let Jamaica or Albania or wherever they're from, let them have them back. And what we haven't even got details of where people are from, what people's background. I mean, all four of my great grandfathers served this country either in mines or in the army in the First World War. I would like to know how many people in prison are the same as me, and very few. And they won't record these details because they don't want to know them. I know that Robert Jenrick was asking, what's the background of all the prisoners? And I think the trouble is, the answer to that question would be so awful that the authorities, the establishment, do not want to know where criminals are coming from, because it would expose some dreadful truths about the dream of multiculturalism that's been foisted on us for the last 60 years.
Yeah, which, Mike, is presumably why the Home Office steadfastly refuses to give us the statistics on the percentages of crimes caused by particular nationalities, Albanians, Jamaicans. They won't tell us that, as you say, because I don't think they like the numbers.
No, they don't. The dream has failed, and the moment the authorities cover up, because I do a lot of Freedom of Information Act requests, the moment the authorities try and close the hatches is the moment that you know you've got something on them. And the people of this country, have been badly failed by politicians who had a dream, and the dream has turned into a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
You're absolutely right. Multiculturalism just isn't working in this country. We need to recalibrate our politics and our systems generally. Good to talk to you, Mike. Take care. See you very soon. Mike Neville there, former Met Police detective.